Okay, I've got another one for you. Imagine a wooden boat. One by one, every plank is replaced. Is it still the same boat?
Ah, a most perplexing question.
And here's another. Every 7 years, every single cell in your body is replaced. So if none of the cells you were born with are still there, are you still the same person?
Oh, no easy answer there.
Oh, hi. Welcome back to the Exploration Lab. You've caught us in the middle of quite the deep discussion.
A discussion most fitting for today's exploration. These riddles remind me of the challenges exchanged among the poets of my time.
Well, that's exactly where our journey takes us today. We've been putting Renaissance texts under the rhetorical analysis microscope, studying how writers use language to shape their audience's thinking. But rhetoric isn't limited to essays and speeches. It thrives in poetry, too. And in the 1600s, a group of poets took language experimentation to a whole new level.
Metaphysical poets. They wrote for fellow intellectuals, exchanging poems like puzzles, each one a test of wit and intellect. Their goal was not just to express, but to challenge, to stretch the mind in unexpected ways, forcing their readers to think their way through strange, layered reasoning to grasp the argument beneath the words.
And that brings us to today's mission. We're diving into the work of one of the most famous metaphysical poets, John Donne. We'll analyze how he uses wit, paradox, and conceits to develop his argument in the poem A Valediction Forbidding Mourning.
Ah, old Donne, a master of turning logic inside out to reveal deeper truths. Be ready to push your thinking to its limits. His poetry is tricky by design.
Which means this lesson isn't just about finding the one right answer, it's about sharpening our thinking. We'll work through Donne's reasoning together and uncover the strange but brilliant ways he builds his argument. So grab your lesson materials and let's start this thought experiment. For today's thought experiment, we're putting A Valediction Forbidding Mourning by John Donne under the rhetorical analysis microscope. While many poets write to express emotion, Donne had other goals. He was making an argument. In this poem, he argues that true love is not weakened by physical separation because it is a constant spiritual connection. So basically, he's saying that true love is a strong enough force to overcome long-distance separations. To build this argument, Donne uses wit, a defining characteristic of metaphysical poetry. Wit is clever reasoning and intellectual playfulness that challenge readers to think in unexpected ways. And Donne does exactly that in this poem. Let's take a look at how he shapes his reasoning. Hey, Renaissance man, would you read this for us? This old language just sounds better in a British accent.
Rightio! Our two souls, therefore, which are one, though I must go, endure not yet a breach, but an expansion, like gold to airy thinness beat.
Before we start breaking this down, let's get our bearings. Donne is the speaker here, but who do you think he's speaking to? What kind of relationship do they seem to have? Consider the clues in the first line and jot down your thoughts. Donne is addressing someone he loves, reassuring them as he prepares to leave. But here's something interesting. While the poem is written as though he's speaking to someone he loves romantically, Donne actually wrote this for his audience of highly intellectual friends. So why would he frame it this way? It's all part of the thought experiment. By crafting the poem as a direct address to a loved one, Donne isn't just making an argument, he's making us feel it, as if we're experiencing his logic unfold in real time. Now let's analyze what he's saying. Focus on these 3 lines. What claim about love do you think he's making here? Pause the video to jot down your thoughts. He makes a surprising claim. Even though he must go away and they will be apart physically, they're together as one. Distance even makes their love grow. That idea might make you stop and think for a second, right? That's because it's a paradox, a statement that seems contradictory or impossible at first, but actually reveals a deeper truth. And did you notice this comparison to gold? He's saying that love is like gold when it's beaten and stretched. It becomes thinner and airier, but doesn't break. This sets up his next big idea. Let's keep going and see where this argument leads.
If they be two, they are two so, as stiff twin compasses are two. Thy soul, the fixed foot, makes no show to move, but doth if the other do.
Let's think about what's happening here. Donne is making a comparison, but to what? Take a look at these lines and jot down what he's comparing love to. Did you catch it? He's comparing love to a compass. Not the kind that points north, but the kind used to draw circles. This is a perfect example of a conceit. A conceit is an extended metaphor that uses unexpected comparisons to develop an argument in a surprising way. Metaphysical poets loved using conceits to challenge their readers to think differently about abstract ideas. Let's connect this back to Donne's argument. How does comparing love to a compass support his argument? Pause the video to jot down your thoughts. Here's one way to look at it. The 2 legs of a compass are separate, but always connected. One leg stays fixed in the center while the other moves in a perfect arc. Donne uses this to argue that even when 2 lovers are apart, they remain connected. This conceit builds on his earlier idea about gold. It's another way of proving that love stretches but doesn't break. We've identified the key rhetorical moves Donne is making. Now let's put them together. Remember, wit in metaphysical poetry is all about guiding the reader through unexpected logic and reasoning. So, let's break down how Donne structures his reasoning in this section. First, he presents a paradox. Even when they're physically apart, they're still together because their souls are one. Then he supports this idea with 2 conceits. First, comparing love to gold that stretches but never breaks, then to a compass that remains connected even as it moves. Think about how these ideas build on one another. Why might Donne have structured his reasoning this way instead of directly stating his argument? Pause the video to jot down your thoughts. Donne carefully guides his audience through his logic step by step. Instead of simply stating that true love endures distance, he uses wit to make us experience the reasoning. He starts with a paradox to challenge expectations, then proves it with 2 layered comparisons, using wit to reinforce his claim in multiple ways. This structured reasoning is exactly what makes metaphysical poetry so intellectually engaging. It invites us into the thought experiment, pushing us to think in new ways. So how can you approach reading metaphysical poetry on your own? First, identify the poem's speaker, audience, and main argument. Next, break down how the poet proves their argument. Do they start with a paradox that makes you stop and think? What strange comparisons or conceits do they use to develop their reasoning? Finally, zoom out and connect the pieces. How do these paradoxes and conceits fit together to build the poet's argument? Now it's your turn. As you continue reading metaphysical poems, follow the same steps we've practiced to unpack the poet's arguments. Keep your rhetorical analysis lens sharp and get ready to uncover even more fascinating thought experiments.
Hey, hey.